Welcome inside episode 698 of the Locked On Senators podcast. I'm Ross Levitan on the outskirts of enemy territory in Winnipeg, Manitoba, alongside Brandon Piller up in the Blue Mountains on a game day. The Ottawa Senators are back home from their 3-game road trip, ready to take on the Washington Capitals.
And Alexander Ovechkin may have got his 500th goal up against the Ottawa Senators, but he will not break Gordie Howe's record on Canadian Tire Ice. Can't happen, Ross.
Okay, we'll find out. Plus, will Tim Stützle make his return to the lineup? All of it's coming up, and it's brought to you by BetOnline. More props, odds, and lines than ever before. Visit BetOnline. It's where the game starts. And now the show starts. This is the Locked On Senators podcast. Your team every day.
Your Locked On Senators, your daily podcast on the Ottawa Senators. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
I'm Jake Sanderson, and you're listening to Locked On Senators podcast.
I'm Tim Stützle, and you're listening to the Locked On Senators podcast.
Thank you for making Locked On Senators your first listen on this Thursday, December 22nd. The show is free and available on all platforms, including on YouTube, where the best way you can help the show grow is to like every video by clicking the thumbs up and subscribing to the Locked On Senators channel. Be a friend, tell a friend. The road to 5,000 continues. And good morning, Pilsy! Ha ha ha!
Hello, Pierre Dorion. I mean, oh my God, we love Pierre Dorion, but that was a wild video. I don't think we all call ourselves Zub fans, Ross, but like you tweeted out, no one is a bigger fan of Zub, or should I say Zubby, as Pierre Dorion, as his energy was through the roof in that contract signing video.
That was wild. Credit to the breakaway team, the video producers with the Ottawa Senators. That was hilarious. And I don't know what time that was taken at. It had to be early morning. The video came out at like noon. Pierre seemed like he was like at a rave.
He just crushed like 7 espressos, just ready to go. Either that, Ross, or Dorion just thinks he absolutely fleeced Zub and is just like, quick, let's sign this up before you change your mind. Zubby.
Yeah, and he's like, hey, this is what we added last night. Here we go. Let's go. You ready? You sign it.
And Zub is not on that level. You can tell he's just like, okay, I want to sign this and get going. He tries to leave, and Pierre's like, whoa, you got to sign over here too, Zubby.
You would have thought that Pierre was the one who just was like $16.7 million richer.
Honestly, yeah, no kidding. But
18.7.
Yeah, hey, don't short him a couple mil there, Ross. All jokes aside, though, like I'm still riding off the high of Zub signing, because that was honestly, Ross, I think I'm more nervous about the Zub extension than I was about DeBrincat. Like a lot of people are still saying, hey, Kevin Weeks, he said they were getting close. It hasn't happened. We're not sure how this is going to go, but the Senators have options up front. The Senators they have no solid options as a right-hand defenseman, and Zub was going to be Zubby was going to be unrestricted free agent, and he would have commanded, I would say, probably closer to $5 million on the market, and lots of teams would be after him. So having that dealt with, 4-year deal, good AAV, feels good.
I think the Ottawa Senators should disperse whatever makeup value what he would have got on the open market to the fans. I feel like
sounds fair.
Our Zub chants are the reason why he wanted
got a discount.
Yeah,
exactly.
He did. And as he will be referred to on this show going forward, is only Zubby.
But that's funny too, because I think Dorion thinks he's like in on the Zub thing, but have any of us or anyone else ever said Zubby? Like sometimes we do the Zooby Dooby Doo or whatever, but like just calling him straight up Zubby, I don't think is a thing until now. I guess Pierre Dorion, he's the one that starts trends.
I got a text from Bruce Garriock yesterday, and it's actually a fair question. And what, like a thinker. I don't think he was trying to be like sarcastic or anything, but Why is he a folk hero? I didn't really have a good answer for him.
Well, the thing is, we didn't really know much about him coming from Russia other than what we saw on Hockey DB. And I think Sens fans were just so enamored with him because he could have chose anywhere. He was a free agent. Lots of teams were going after him, but he chose to be in Ottawa. And then add on to that he was healthy scratched to start his time in Ottawa. So it's like, what's up with this guy?
For Erica Branson and Josh Brown, those were the right-hand shot defensemen that played ahead of him in opening night.
I mean, yeah, when you have those two guys at your disposal, you're not going to put a guy like Artem Zub in the lineup. That's fair.
That's what I told him. I said it's like international man of mystery type.
Yes.
And I said having a one-syllable catchy last name didn't hurt either.
Yeah, because we were like, is it Zub? Is it Zub? What is it? Who is this guy? What does he look like? We don't even know.
Well, Zubby is ours for the next 4 years after this one, and the defense starts taking shape. It's amazing that he comes in at only 100,000 more on the cap hit than Nikita Zaitsev. So you're looking at a situation where you can hopefully move on from Zaitsev and basically just have a much better player replace him at the same cost. You know who else makes $4.6 million?
Chychrun, right?
Jacob Chychrun makes $4.6 million. But obviously there's nothing new to report there other than the fact that he has 13 points. And I think even more impressively, and this is in 15 games, is it not more impressive that Jacob Chychrun is +8 on the Arizona Coyotes in 15 games?
Wow, that is impressive. And here's the thing, Ross, like if fans and general managers thought the price for Chychrun was high before he started playing and everyone's like, he doesn't play much, we're not really sure how he's going to be. Well, it's going to be through the roof now that you're like, yeah, not only is he playing well, but he's dominating on this Arizona Coyotes team. Imagine what he could do for you.
Yeah, only 3 players are pluses on that team, and Jacob Chychrun, despite playing half the amount of games, is number 1 on that team. Obviously, a trade I think is best for both parties there, but do you think that this changes Ottawa's plight at all? I know Elliot Friedman said they're still looking for a defenseman. Do you think they kind of muddy the water? I guess there's a roster freeze right now, so it's not like anything's imminent. I don't think you can make a trade until the 27th or 26th.
Something like that. Yeah, there's a week period here. Yeah, where there's a freeze.
That's a nice move for the boys, on Christmas. Like guys not getting sent down, sent up, all that.
Yeah, it is good. It's just unnecessary to be doing that. I mean, like you've got all year basically, except obviously after the trade deadline passes. Like there's so much time to do it. You don't need to be messing up people's times, families during the holidays. So I like that. And as you're about to find out, Ross, traveling during the holidays isn't always a breeze either. So you don't want to be making players deal with that when they don't have to.
Oh, yeah, I'm heading to the airport right now. By the way, tomorrow's episode, we've got Scott Wheeler coming up with a World Junior preview. So stay tuned for that. But Pillsy, we got a lot to get into on today's show, including Alexander Ovechkin chasing history. You mentioned he's already scored a milestone goal against the Ottawa Senators. I want to say it was up against the Hamburglar, who we were just talking about yesterday or 2 days ago, as a guy who hung him up but had a marvelous run. Hey, quick aside. Andrew Hammond does not belong in the Ring of Honor, right?
No. That's the thing. Like he's kind of along there with Ray Emery. Like I tossed that out there, but no, neither of those guys are Ring of Honor guys.
You just want like a mural of every goalie that's played for the team?
I like goalies. Sue me. Hashtag goalie friendly show.
All right, coming up next, game day preview. The Ottawa Senators starting a back-to-back at home against the Washington Capitals, and then the Detroit Red Wings, who they just saw last weekend, and it's the second of 3rd meetings between the Sens and Wings in the next while. They play on New Year's Eve as well. All that's coming up. You're listening to Locked On Senators. Today's episode is brought to you by Shawarma Palace. You're among family when you go to Shawarma Palace, but you've known that because they're the premium food eatery in Ottawa. They've been serving shawarmas in Ottawa since 1997. I mean, they've got the stamp of longevity. They've got a rabid fan base. Just go on their social media at shawarma_palace, and you'll find all the amazing food they have to offer. It's more economical than going to the grocery store. It's fresh, it's tasty, and it's not at the expense of portion size. They make sure that you go home feeling full. Can you handle a whole platter? I know Pillsy can't. I can't. But some of you have told me you can. That is unbelievable. But the taste is really, what separates Shawarma Palace. I go in there with the horse blinders. I put on the chicken platter. I want 2 extra garlics. I love the pita, the fresh pita made by Shawarma Palace. And what the best part is everyone is always smiling at Shawarma Palace. They greet you with a smile. You go, you sit down, and they've got 9 locations now. That's how successful of a company it's been since 1997. I absolutely love to see it. And make sure you let them know that Locked On Senators sent you. Shawarma Palace, we want a long-term relationship with our best friends at Shawarma Palace. Literally, what I crave most about home is that delicious first bite of your Shawarma Palace. You get in to the garlic, the turnips. I'm going NPR here on you, Pillsy. But the bottom line is that Shawarma Palace is your one-stop shop in Ottawa. All 9 locations, Rideau and Augusta, Bank and Gladstone, all over the map from Orleans out to Carleton University. You're never too far from a Shawarma Palace. But if you don't feel like a walk or a drive, then just order on Uber Eats. But the bottom line is you're among royalty when you eat at Shawarma Palace, and Sens game days taste better at Shawarma Palace. So make sure you tag us on social media at Sens Central and at Shawarma_Palace.
Today's episode is also brought to you by our friends over at BetOnline. Ross, sometimes you just have a feeling that things are going to happen, and when you have that feeling, you got to go to BetOnline. Like, if you are a Sens fan and you're like, every historical goal gets scored against the Sens, players' first career NHL goals, goalies' first wins, all that happens against the Sens, well, maybe you want to put a couple shekels on Ovechkin getting 2 or more goals tonight if you think he's going to get Gordie Howe's record. I will not be doing that, though. But if I was, I'd be using the trusted online sportsbook of the Locked On Podcast Network. It's BetOnline. They got all the latest odds, news, scores, props, totals, over-unders, moneyline, puck line, reverse puck line, whatever you're into, they got it. But it's not just for hockey, guys. They got football, basketball, boxing, UFC, golf, whatever you like, they got it. So head to the website today or use your mobile device to learn more about the trends and action. Guys, it's betonline.net where the game starts.
All right, Pillsy. So, Alex Ovechkin comes to the Canadian Tire Center tonight with the Washington Capitals. And to take you back to January 10th, 2016, not only did Alex Ovechkin become the 43rd player in NHL history to reach 500 goals, he also scored 501 in that same game, Pillsy. So he is not immune to scoring 2 goals in a game against the Ottawa Senators.
No, I am fully aware that he scores goals in bunches up against the Senators, but it's not going to happen this time. I don't know. I just got that feeling. And you know me, Ross, whenever I have gambling implications or feelings, I've never been known to mush the Ottawa Senators. My parlays, my gambling insights, they tend to come true. So no 2 goals for Ovechkin tonight.
Okay. Well, yeah. All I want is to avoid having like the whole team celebration.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's tough.
We can't have that. Like, second period, there's an all-out team celebration like they won the cup. We can't have that on home ice.
I wonder what the fans think. Like, because if I was going to the CTC, if Ottawa wins 5-2 and Ovechkin has both goals, that's probably an ideal night.
Yeah,
that's kind of cool, seeing history like that.
But, Ross, do you believe there's a scenario where Ovechkin scores 2 goals and the Caps don't win?
No.
Yeah.
No, I definitely don't. I wonder, though, if maybe his timing could be off because Pillsy, he's been practicing with 2 players who I don't believe are going to play tonight. That's why we didn't do a lineup board because literally Tom Gooley with NHL.com put out the lines from yesterday's practice and said, these are today's practice lines, ... These will not be the lines in Ottawa. Nicholas Backstrom and Tom Wilson, neither of them have played this year, both injured, off-season surgeries. Tom Wilson's not wearing a contact jersey. He's closer, but I think it's all going to still be shuffled. However, despite that, the Washington Capitals are winning a lot of games right now. Remember, we thought they would be kind of the weakest link. once the season started, and we realized Boston certainly wasn't. Ottawa took care of Washington in the first battle this season too. They outshot them 44-24. It was a dominant win for the Ottawa Senators, but this is a different Washington Capitals team. Still super injured. No Backstrom, no Wilson. Oshie as well will be
No
out
Connor Brown.
tonight. No Connor Brown. No Nick Dowd will be back, but he missed the last game due to an illness. Carl Hagelin is out indefinitely. It is a very beat-up Washington Capitals team, but still, they prevail. They had a huge win streak. They lost 1 to Dallas, and then they won against Detroit. So they're 7-1 in their last games.
Yeah, Ross, they've had a really good December. I was looking at their month. They've only lost 3 games all month. One of them is that loss you mentioned to Dallas, a 2-1 loss. Another one is a 3-2 overtime loss to the Kraken, and then a 5-2 loss to the Flames. So this team has been humming along here, and unfortunately, they just played the Detroit Red Wings not too long ago, and that ended up going to overtime. So that's a 3-point night, making it ever so harder for the Sens to make their climb into a wild card spot.
Ha 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 ha. I can't drink the Kool-Aid. I tasted the Kool-Aid.
I'm stirring it. I'm stirring it and kind of like wafting it. I'm not drinking or tasting it yet.
All right, what do you say we turn our attention to the Ottawa Senators? Like, this Capitals team, they're a good hockey team. There's no question about it. They're you have to watch out on the power play. I don't know if you've ever heard, but Ovechkin likes to hang out at the top of the left circle and blast one-timers.
Really?
Yeah, I've heard that at least. But hey, they've also got a few young players that have come up and played well too. And you need that in any organization. But it's always impressive to me when it's a team that really doesn't get to pick high at all. So like Eric Gustafson's kind of a guy who's been all around the league. Guy had a hat trick against the Leafs last week.
Yeah, I saw that. That's crazy. So that's a thing with the Washington Capitals. Like, there always seem to be a veteran team that when you've got Ovi there, like, he similar to Brady, right? Like, he drags the guys into the battle with him because he's not a captain that's like, oh, I score goals, that's it. Ovi's out there trucking guys. He's playing physical. He's on the forecheck. He's playing hard. He's skating hard. He's really involved. So I think when Alexander Ovechkin is there, no matter who's there and who's not, I know you mentioned they have a lot of injuries, that team's going to be battling hard.
Who is your lookout player for tonight's game?
I'll leave the low-hanging fruit for you, Ross, but my lookout player is going to be John Carlson. I think when you're a team that's injury-riddled, a great thing to fall back on is creating offense through your defense and from the point. And I would argue Carlson's one of the best defensemen in creating offense from the point in the entire league, and he's so consistent. And you talk about the power play, he's a guy that's going to be setting Ovi up, but this power play hasn't quite been clicking like it usually does. It's 20th in the league at like 20.1%, which isn't terrible, but it's not what we're used to. I mean, when there's no Backstrom or Wilson, that's going to take a hit on your special teams for sure. But I'm still going to be looking out for John Carlson because he's so good at not only shooting the puck from the point and allowing players to get tips and deflections, but he's a smooth skater that transitions up the ice nicely, a good first pass. Like, I think if you could look at John Carlson and you could hope that Thomas Chabot could get to that level eventually, that would be an ultimate victory because Thomas Chabot has similarities to Carlson. He just doesn't quite have the finesse that he does.
Yeah, John Carlson, great player, always a point producer. Speaking of which, his points are probably inflated from playing with the great eight. And yeah, I mean, you say it's low-hanging fruit, but for good reason. He's the kind of guy where when the Sens have their PK meetings today, they're just going to talk about Alex Ovechkin for half hour. So we may as well touch on, again, the fact that he's played really well in his career against, well, all teams, but
yeah,
it feels like especially Ottawa, 35 goals in 52 games. Like, that's ridiculous. He's got 56 points. He's plus 18. I feel like Washington's always had Ottawa's number, especially in Washington. That's somewhere Ottawa's never been able to win. Just like Carolina. Like, I feel like those two are classic losses on the schedule for Ottawa. But with this Capitals team coming up to Ottawa, capital gains, anyone, or capital exchange, always some stupid pun on tsn.ca when these two teams get together. But I got to go with Alex Ovechkin. I worry about this one. He's got 9 power play goals against the Sens, and I hate to call against it, but I think he gets 801 on a power play tonight.
See, I think he might tie the record tonight, but I don't think he beats it.
Okay. I'll say he ties it and then beats it with an empty netter.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, because if they get an empty netter, all 5 guys, including the goalie, are going to be trying to pass it to Ovechkin to get a goal. It's going to be the most obvious thing ever.
Before he hit 800, he had 4 goals in a row in 3 games that were all empty netters.
Yeah. So
two empty netters in 1 game.
Oh my God.
Yeah, one was with 6 seconds left. So have a night. Way to go.
Yeah, I mean, if goalies are having a hard time stopping Ovi, I don't think the empty net's going to have much success.
No, not a whole lot. You better pray for a post. That's all I got to say there. So Alex Ovechkin, the Washington Capitals, come to town. Looking back on the last meeting between these two teams, I mentioned that the Senators were able to outshoot Washington and outscore them. Shocker, the power play did work for both teams, actually. In the first period, Washington scored twice, both on the power play. It was 2-0 Caps after the first period.
Yeah. And then didn't Batherson get back-to-back power play goals?
Within 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, his second and third of the season. Shane Pinto off a rush in the third period. And then Ottawa, speaking of 2 empty netters, the Sens had 2 empty netters in a span of 40 seconds. Tyler Mott. And then it was Alex DeBrincat scoring his first goal of the season tonight.
Oh, yeah.
Let's turn our attention to the Ottawa Senators. Little game day preview, continuing keys to victory, and our lookout player coming up next here on Locked On Senators. Today's episode is brought to you by the Glebe Central Pub. You're among family at the Glebe Central Pub. They've got great drink specials. They've got great food specials. And how about a shuttle to Ottawa Senators games, including tonight against the Washington Capitals and tomorrow against the Detroit Red Wings, especially if the weather does take a turn for the worse. No better way to have a safe ride to and from the game than at the Glebe Central Pub. The meeting spot is at 779 Bank Street. That's where you can find the Glebe Central Pub. Make sure you let them know that Locked On Senators sent you. The Glebe Central Pub is in the heart of the Glebe. It's got great food, great drinks, and head to their website and check out when the shuttle is running. Not only the 2 games I mentioned now, but into the new year. Always a great call to have a safe ride. And Pilsy, I know you want to pick up on safe rides.
Yeah, that actually works perfectly into this next ad, which is a very important one, especially during the holidays. Look, it's the holiday season. You don't have to work. You got some days off. You want to have some drinks with family and friends. Nothing wrong with that at all. But the thing is, you need to plan ahead for how you're getting home or to your next destination. And that's why we love the Glebe Central Pub for having a shuttle, because you can go have a couple drinks, get on the shuttle, have some more beers at the game, and get on the shuttle, and you're back at the Glebe Central Pub, all nice and safe and planned for. Because here's the thing. Maybe you have a couple drinks and you're like, I just live around the corner. I can make it home. It's not a big deal. What are the odds I'm going to get pulled over in that time? And even so, nothing's going to happen, right? Wrong. You could lose your license, your insurance goes up, you could lose your job, you could total your car, and worst of all, you could injure someone, even kill someone if you're not careful. Everyone knows about the risks of driving drunk, but sometimes you think you don't have to worry about it. But the risk versus the reward is not a good trade-off here, as the results can be tragic if you are drinking and driving. So you need to protect yourself and others when you're on the road. That's why police officers are out there right now looking for impaired drivers. They're trying to save lives. So if you think you're okay to drive after a few drinks, think again. Take 10 seconds to think about it. It's a massive decision. Play it safe, plan ahead, get a ride like the shuttle to and from the game at the Glebe Central Pub. It only takes one mistake to change your life or someone else's forever. Drive sober or get pulled over.
All right, Pilsy, it's been a great week on Locked On Senators.
Zubby!
Zubby! I love you, Zubby!
That was like a Mario voice there.
The laugh was all done. The laugh.
Yeah, that's and I just love Zubby not matching that energy at all.
Yeah.
Like he's not there yet, Pierre.
No, but great to get him signed. Could he return to the lineup today? Look good.
Hopefully. I mean, that's the thing we talked about is obviously a broken jaw is a big deal. We're not minimizing getting a puck to the jaw and breaking your jaw.
Just throw a cage on it there. Good Canadian boy out there. Hey, Zubby.
I know. Last I checked, you didn't need a jaw to skate, so he should be out there in a cage. No, all jokes aside, I really thought Zub would be closer to returning than Tim Stützle, but if we get one or even both of those guys back, that is absolutely huge. I'm more kind of drawn in on those guys coming into tomorrow's game because that's a divisional game up against the Red Wings. And like we talked about, our goals for this season is beat those teams at your weight class, right? The Buffalo Sabres, the Montreal Canadiens, and the Detroit Red Wings in your division. Those are the games you must win. So it's going to be interesting for sure.
Yes, it will be. And the Ottawa Senators, again, we're not sure how they're going to line up. It's an early morning recording for us. Here's the Senators. We'll have a morning skate in about 2 hours' time. You can follow along on Twitter at Sens Central and keep your eye out for Pilsy's game day preview that we'll have on our YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok. You can follow the show on Instagram, lockedon.senators, and of course on Twitter at Sens Central. We appreciate you making us your first listen every day. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast as well. It's free. And it goes a long way for us in the algorithm. So we appreciate that. Leave a comment below. Do you want to see Ovi make history tonight? If you are heading down boots on the ground at the Canadian Tire Center after the game, Pilsy and Atleem's Martian will have the postcast. So make sure that you hit the notification bell when to know when new videos go live. Always the quickest and easiest way. And again, absolutely free. Pilsy, Stützle comes back. Pretty simple. You plug him in where Derek Brassard is right now. But then where do you put Brassard? Do you just take him right out of the lineup? Do you move him down? Where do you put him?
Yeah, you know what? I'd probably give Brassard a break. I've liked how Casti and Gambrell have played, and Brassard, for me, is more of a plug and play type of guy. I don't really want him playing every game, so I probably give him a break here. And if things don't go well, or you think Casti or Gambrell needs to take a seat for the second game of the back-to-back, get some fresh legs, then you pop him in.
Yeah, I mean, even like Rourke Chartier is my one standout in Winnipeg, right?
True.
Like,
Yeah.
he was actually a good player. And the most egregious player recently who should come out would be Austin Watson. And I think there's more of a chance of DJ getting fired before Austin Watson's a healthy scratch.
Yeah, that's probably accurate. Yeah.
The analogy is that's his Tom Pyatt, right? Like Guy Boucher and Tom Pyatt, that's Austin Watson for DJ.
Yeah, it's a pretty similar scenario here. Look, we like Austin Watson as a part of this team. I think he does have a role here, but
I think I did. I feel like I'm over it.
Yeah, I think the thing is, especially he's in his last year of his deal, I think he can be a plug and play guy too. Like when you're going up against Minnesota and Ryan Reeves is in there, then you put him in the lineup, that kind of stuff. Even though he's not necessarily the most intimidating player, but when you're trying to get a little more physicality, then you do that. But I think the Ottawa Senators have enough depth, even if you're looking at Belleville guys like Rourke Chartier or some prospects that could be called up. We talked about Cole Reinhardt, Scott Sabrin. Those guys could play a more effective role on the fourth line. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. But anyways, it's kind of a fool's errand of a conversation because he's not coming out.
We've had a lot of fool's errand conversations on this show, Ross, so it won't be the first, won't be the last.
Yeah, that's absolutely fair. Now we're starting to see other games postponed around the league. At least Buffalo is postponing their game Friday against the Tampa Bay Lightning. I don't think they're gonna move any Ottawa Senators games, but
it's hard to tell.
I wouldn't be surprised if tomorrow's might be. Anyways, we'll figure that out. We'll keep you posted on Twitter at Sens Central, but they're so hard to reschedule everything, and I don't know.
Hard.
Is Detroit playing tonight?
I'm not sure.
You don't know their schedule off the top?
No, actually, they're not. I have Mo Sider in one of my fantasy leagues, and I put him on my bench. So.
Yeah, you're right. They were home to Tampa, so you'd think they could just come to Ottawa today, now, get there before the storm. Anyways, I know travel conditions and all that to get to and from the game, but that's why you have the Glebe Central Pub. All right, Pilsy. Yeah. So I probably move. Yeah, I probably move Brassard right out, at least for tonight. Reevaluate against Detroit afterwards. But, yeah, there's no need to keep him in. It's not like he's really done a whole lot on the top line. What do you expected in a bottom six role? Who's your locked on player in tonight's game?
My locked on player in tonight's game, I got to sneeze.
So Pilsy's locked on player is...
Sorry, I'm battling a cold here. This is my flu game. We don't take too many days off here on the show.
Thanks for reminding me. Monday, no show.
That's why I correct myself. We don't take any days off. Quick announcement, we're taking Monday off. We don't take too many days off, but yes, we will be taking Boxing Day off on Monday.
Dude, including postcasts, I looked it up, and we've done 24 podcasts in December. It's not even 22 days old.
Who else is giving you this much Sens content? Nobody is the correct answer.
Not even Zubby.
Not even. Well, Zubby does create a lot of content. But before I sneezed and we got off the rails here, my locked on player is going to be, when I was looking at this game, Ross, I was thinking, who on the Senators has seen a lot of Alexander Ovechkin in their career and would have experience shutting them down, or maybe not shutting them down, but at least knows what it's like to go up against them head to head? It's Claude Giroux. I mean, he's been around a long time in the same division as Alexander Ovechkin for a long time, and he has the games to prove it, Ross. 57 games up against the Capitals. Ovi would have been there the entire time, and in those 57 games, Giroux has 24 goals, 28 assists, good for 52 points in 57 games up against the Capitals. And Giroux has been pretty good lately here, scoring a couple key goals, momentum goals even. So I'm going to be locked on to Claude Giroux here, especially if Timmy's back in the lineup.
Ooh, that would be a nice little treat for the fan base. I thought you were going to say Travis Hamonic because he played for the Islanders for all those years too in the division.
Yeah, but then he moved out west. So yeah, Hamonic would be the next guy up in that category. But Giroux, like the Flyers and the Capitals, they were kind of at even spots in the standings for a long time. So they've had some good battles.
Here's a fun fact for you. Travis Hamonic has scored more goals against the Washington Capitals than any other team in the National Hockey League.
He's going to be beaver tailing like crazy out there tonight.
5 goals in 32 games. Not bad. He's got 4 goals against Vancouver and Pittsburgh and New Jersey, but 5 goals against the Washington Capitals in 32 games. However, my locked on player is going to be Drake Batherson. Can Drake Batherson, the man who had 2 goals against the Washington Capitals in the first meeting, can he extend his point streak to 10 games? He's currently got 6 goals and 7 assists in a 9-game point streak, but he's dashed 6 over that. I think for Ottawa to be successful, not only does Drake have to get on the score sheet, but how about doing it at even strength? Like, that would be a nice little boost. That whole line with DeBrincat and Pinto, -3 against Winnipeg. Shabbat, Zaitsev, -3 against Winnipeg. They need to be better tonight, all 5 of them, for the Sens to have a chance.
Agreed. And Ross, that leads into my key to victory for the Sens to have a chance here. It's simple, and I'm sure we probably said it every time they play the Capitals, but find a way to contain Ovechkin on the power play. Like that. It's probably most teams, like you mentioned, they're going to be in the film room looking at Ovi on the power play and how can we contain him? Because I think if you look at the lines here, if they don't get Backstrom and Wilson back and the Sens get Timmy and or Zub back, I think these two teams can kind of go head to head here, and it's not that much of a mismatch. So if you're able to just stop their biggest weapon on the special teams, I think you have a chance here. And I don't think there's a chance the Sens blow them out here, but I think if you could keep it a close game and contain that power play, maybe you can squeeze one out here. And the Senators, they've been on a bit of a slide lately up against Western Conference teams, but we're back in the Eastern Conference. The Detroit Red Wings and the Washington Capitals are 2 teams you're trying to catch up to, so you cannot allow them to blow you out of the building here. And especially, you got to win in regulation. You gotta do it. No 3-point games.
So, Pilsy, your key to victory is?
To try to contain Alexander Ovechkin on the power play.
Which is easier said than done because Alex Ovechkin, as you can see from this chart we got here on YouTube, has more power play goals than anybody in National Hockey League history.
Oh, damn.
He's got 18 more goals than Dave Andreychuk on the power play. And then Brett Hull is number 3 with almost 30 less than the
Wayne
greatest.
Gretzky's not on this list?
No, isn't that wild? Maybe they were.
What?
Yeah, you had to kill someone to get a power play in the 80s. Where do you think he is? There he is.
That's insane.
I mean, he still has 204.
But for the guy that has the most goals, he's 17th in power play goals. Oh my God.
I feel like that's even more impressive.
Yeah.
And Gordie Howe's 15th.
Yeah. Wow.
Is Alex Ovechkin just a power play merchant? My column. Paywall.
And some people, you talked about it, Ross, the empty net goals. Some people are getting on him being like, I think he has an absurd amount of empty net goals. Like some people are saying it's kind of a cheap stat that he's climbing the way up the rankings here.
I don't know. I think most career empty net goals, Wayne Gretzky's number 1.
Yeah. Okay, well, damn.
Well, hey, guess who's number 2?
Ovi?
Yep.
Yeah.
I'll pull that up. Look at us stat guys here at the end of the show today on Locked On Senators. Make sure you stay tuned for Scott Wheeler tomorrow. Gretzky 1 with 56, Ovechkin 2 at 53, and then Marian Hossa, makes sense, defensive-minded forward, always out in last minute. He has 40. So Gretzky and Ovechkin are in a league of their own beating empty nets.
Yeah, congrats, guys.
Marchand right there too, eh? I'm learning from this list that it's a bit of a new phenomenon, pulling the goalie that much. Like, look how many of these guys are like new age players. Like again, Zach Parise is on this. Blake Wheeler's on this.
That is wild. I wouldn't have expected that. They definitely back in the day, they're like, we're not pulling the goalie. No way.
Yeah, Keith Tkachuk's in the top 15.
Love it.
Amazing. All right. Well, speaking of goals, you're going to be in for a treat tonight. I'm going to say the over hits, Pillsy. I'm going to go over. I think I said what, 4-2 or 5? Sorry, I said 5-2 Washington or 4-2.
You said 5-2 Sens.
No. I said if. I said will fantasy if. No. I don't have a great feeling.
Wait, so what's your key to victory?
Well, I think you should stop Ovechkin on the power play, Pillsy. That's great. That's all that you need to do.
Okay, so we got the same key to victory.
No. I'll give you something else. I'm just having a laugh at that. I think for Ottawa, they need to just forget about that road trip. Like even the Detroit game, without those 3 power play goals, and what, 2 shorties?
Yeah, it was 3 power plays and 2 shorties.
Even strength, they lost 2-1.
Darn.
Right? I need to see a better 5-on-5 performance than we've seen recently. I don't think that the way they've been playing 5-on-5 has been good enough to win. So I'm going to be watching them at 5-on-5, especially early, set the tone, and hopefully they get some bodies back. Because of course I'll be locked on to Tim Stützle if he's going to be back in the lineup as well.
Yeah, same.
All right, you'll find out sooner rather than later. The Sens skate in about an hour and a half from when we're recording this. So follow along on Twitter at Sens Central, Instagram LockedOn.Senators, and stay tuned for Pillsy's preview coming up soon. Pillsy, any final thoughts on today's show?
Safe travels, buddy. As you're making the flight from Winnipeg to Toronto, then you got more of a trip from Toronto to Florida later. So people are saying this is going to be Ross, I've heard the term storm of a generation thrown out there by some weather people. So safe travels, buddy. I hope you make it to your destination, or at least you can find somewhere to bunker down in Toronto.
Yeah, no doubt. Heart of enemy territory. We'll talk tomorrow. We got Scott Wheeler. We'll have some fun, but I appreciate that. And Merry Christmas, because tomorrow we've got the pre-recorded show. And so Merry Christmas, brother. We had quite a year here, and we'll put a bow on the best and worst of 2022 next week during that span. And still a couple Sens games in the mix as well. And we appreciate everyone as well. Merry Christmas to everyone who's watching. And
happy holidays. Yeah.
Made us a part. Yeah. Night 5 of Hanukkah as well. So, we appreciate everyone who's made us a part of your daily routine. It's still kind of surreal to us. And we just can't thank everyone enough. And all of our great sponsors as well who've jumped on board. It's certainly exceeded my expectations and still feel like we're just getting started. So just wanted to say thank you to everyone. And for today, we say goodbye. For Brandon Piller, I'm Ross Levitan, and this has been the Locked On Senators podcast, your team every day.